he used to do an impression of Lester Flatt.
I've heard that.
And he did it so beautifully. We have a couple of pieces of video here. He's going to imitate Lester Flatt, the bluegrass giant, singing "Rub It In," the Billy Craddock song. And then we're going to go to an interview. The first piece you see will be from a 1985 show and at Christmas time. The second piece will be from 1989, about 2 months before he passed away, and we're going to be talking about a song which he thought was autobiographical called "I'm No Stranger to the Rain." So let's go to the tape.
So I worked up an imitation, and by the way, Lester was real fond of this imitation. He used to get me to do it real often for him. He got a real kick out of it.
Now, you've got to picture this. This is Lester Flatt doing the Billy Craddock hit, "Rub It In." You ready, Lester?
Lie beside me on the sand, put some lotion in your hand. Come on and make me feel nice, kiss me once or twice, say you love me again. Rub it in, rub it in, rub it in, rub it in. I feel the tango begin, you're getting under my skin. Rub it in, rub it in. Oh, put a little on my nose, put a little on my toes, put it on my back and my sacroiliac, and a dab on my chinny chin chin. Rub it in, rub it in, rub it in. I feel the tango begin, you're getting under my skin. Rub it in, rub it in.
I love it. And today we are saluting the wonderful talents of Keith Whitley, and we're delighted to have from up in Sandy Hook, Kentucky, I guess it's Sandy Hook, his brother Dwight. Would you please welcome Dwight Whitley? Dwight, good morning to you.
Yeah.
Dwight, is your mother watching?
Yeah, I'd like to say hello to Mother.
What's your mama's name?
Hey.
And is she back in Sandy Hook?
Yeah, she's in Sandy Hook today watching. She's had a little accident a couple of months ago, and she's been laid up, but she's recuperating, and hopefully she'll be back to normal in another month or so.
Well, I certainly hope so. Did she have a fall or something?
She had an automobile accident.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and both ankles were broken, and she's been in a wheelchair for about 6 weeks now.
Prognosis?
Looks good. The doctor says everything's healing, and she goes back the 3rd of November, and they're going to get her on her feet that day and start her walking.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. I wish you the best.
Yeah.
Faye, I hope you'll get a couple of ankles there that will take you through a long and happy life. Dwight, tell me about your brother Keith. How many siblings in the family? How many brothers and sisters?
There were 4 children, 3 sons and a daughter. My sister Mary, then me, my brother Randy, and then Keith in that order. Keith was the baby.
Okay, what's happened to the rest of the family?
Well, Randy was the first family member that we lost. He was killed in a motorcycle accident in 1983, October 8th. And, of course, everyone knows what happened to Keith. Mary and I are still here.
What does Mary do?
She works for a company at home that sells mobile pagers and mobile phones. She lives in Grayson, Kentucky.
And what does Dwight Whitley do?
Well, right now I'm holding down a full-time job, but it looks like if things work out like we're hoping that I might be playing music next year.
At one time, wasn't there a Whitley Brothers band or group?
Yeah, there was. We started at an early age playing music. Keith and I both played country music. My mother taught us to play guitar. And my grandfather, Ferguson, was an old-time banjo player, and, of course, I picked that up from him. And I got into bluegrass real heavy, and I influenced Keith, led him into bluegrass, and that's where he met Ricky Skaggs. Keith and I had a local TV show and a local radio show that we did. The radio ran for about 3.5 years. And we taped everything on Wednesday night, And the shows were aired on Saturday and Sunday, and that gave Keith, you know, the opportunity to go ahead and play music on the weekends, which he did with Ralph Stanley. And so he was playing actually professionally and then going to school too, you know. And then after he got out of school...
Well, excuse me, at what age were you guys during this period of your life?
Okay, Keith was about 14, and I was right at 20 at that age.
Now, did Ricky Skaggs grow up in the same area?
Well, you know, we didn't know Ricky. It was about 20 miles from our hometown, and Keith and I were playing a high school one night, and Ricky happened to be there, and he entered a fiddling contest. And, of course, he won the fiddling contest. But during intermission, Keith and Ricky went in the basement of the school and got to talking, and they both liked Stanley Brothers music, and, you know, they got to singing. So we invited Ricky over the next weekend to sit in on our radio show. And, of course, his father, Hobart, came, and they became full-time members of our band.
So this band included Keith and Dwight Whitley, Ricky and Hobart Skaggs, right, the father and son.
Right. We had, you know, a few other members there, local guys that played bass and fiddle. Of course, Ricky took up the fiddling spot and mandolin, and they became permanent members of the band.
Now, I have, excuse me, I have an album called Brotherly Love. Tell me about this.
Well, Ralph, about 2 years ago, two friends of mine approached me and asked me to do a tribute album to Keith. And, you know, my first answer was no, I wasn't really interested in doing music. But they were real persistent. Gene Wagner and Lester Blackburn were the guys. And we contacted Tree Publishing Company for some songs, and we found several that Keith had written. And we didn't think they were ever going to be released. So, you know, the songs were just great, and we wanted to do a duet. That was Keith's dream, that he and I do a vocal duet. So we'd asked RCA about the vocals for Brotherly Love, but, you know, for some reason we didn't get them. So I went ahead with the album, and I included that song on the album. I did all the vocals. But several of the songs were written by Keith. I picked a few that I liked that were cover tunes.
All right, now you're going to sing a song called The Legend and the Man.
Right. Keith demoed that song in the early 80s, and, you know, Conway Twitty had that out as a single. It was written by Curly Putman, Bucky Jones, and Ron Hillard. It kind of paralleled...
Let me ask you, I'm assuming that had he lived, you would have made that duet.
Right, we would have.
What was the song you were going to record?
Brotherly Love.
Okay, all right.
But this song kind of paralleled Keith's life, and, you know, it really told how things were on the road. It's a hard life on the road. But it needed a third verse. So my wife, Flo, sat down, and she wrote the third verse, and that's the part from the recitation on. And
are you talking about The Legend and the Man?
Yes, sir.
Which you'll do for us in a moment.